Live at the Vive, I'm Nigel Barker, and we've got Anthony Ferraro for you today. What a week it has been, and we are winding it up with none other than a real legend, a living legend in his time. Anthony is quite extraordinary, as I say, so many of our guests are, and he's been blowing us away. He is legally blind, but don't let that think that stops him. No, there is no stopping Anthony. In fact, he likes a challenge. I think if you can set something up and say he can't do it, that's going to make him do it. And he does it better than us. Here he is. Anthony, how are you?
Hey, Nigel. How's it going? I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Fantastic. You've been blowing up our entire Instagram feeds all over the place. We love it. We love you. How are you doing? And thanks for coming on Vive.
Oh, man. I love it so much. I love you guys, too. It's been amazing. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I've got to say, your story is extraordinary. The film that's come out around you, A Shot in the Dark, is so well produced. Take us back to when you were sort of a kid at school, and you were trying out for the wrestling team, and there was you had to deal with discrimination. You had to deal with perhaps potential bullying, people getting in your face and saying you couldn't do it. What was it like then, and what drove you to get pushed past that? That's at such a young age.
Right. I think that's a great question. So when I started, it was 7th grade when I had just transferred from Philly. I grew up in New Jersey, so I was going from there to Philly every day to learn how to read and write in Braille at a school in Philadelphia. And once I transferred to the public school, I started wrestling. And the discrimination and bullying didn't really happen at first because I was terrible. Like when I first started, I went like 3-12, and 2 of my wins were forfeits. So I just go out and get my hand raised. And so I was just kind of like the blind wrestler, and then I wanted to get good. So I told my dad, like, I need to get better at this. I don't want to just be mediocre. And he found me a wrestling club where I started going like 4 nights a week and then to tournaments every weekend. And I just finally started to turn a corner like that summer going into 8th grade. And then I ended up winning, all 23-1 my 8th grade year after putting in all that time and work. And I won this, like, the 8th grade championship. And when that happened, I was like down 13-2 with about 45 seconds left. And there was no complaints. So when I wrestle, I have to stay in constant contact, like, because I can't see and they can. So to make it a little bit more even, so no one gets hurt and things like that, we have to stay in contact. And when they break apart, the referee blows the whistle and brings us back. So there was 30 seconds left, and I throw the kid to his back, and I end up pinning him, and the crowd goes crazy. Like, I'm so excited. And, after the kid shakes my hand like a real gentleman, walks off the mat, we walk off the mat. And the father came to my dad and said, your son has an unfair advantage in this sport. We think, he doesn't belong in wrestling. He should go to the Special Olympics. He should try a different sport. It's unfair to other kids to have to stay in contact with him. And all these things, and it was like such a blow. I was like, I was like 13 years old, and it was like mind-boggling how, you could just try and take all these like hours and constant hard work I put in and just rip it away from saying things like that. And like, I was really angry at first, and then, you learn to like kind of laugh about it and forgive and forget. But after that, it was kind of like a snowball effect where towards high school, then high school came, and I became, pretty good at wrestling. I was doing really well, and people like started saying things like, oh, he's faking being blind. He has an unfair advantage and all these things. And it was just like, so many things to deal with at like a young age when you're just trying to be a normal kid and fit in with everyone.
But you were better than normal. Your advantage was your mind. Your advantage was your confidence, and that is your secret weapon, and that is what drove you, and why you're such an inspiration for so many people. And it. There isn't a superhero out there that isn't threatened. But people aren't threatened by them. I see someone like yourself, and the courage, the bravery, the sheer determination. It's like, I'm like, dude, can I just have an ounce of it? Can you share some of that with me? Because it is, because I don't see the blindness, and with you, and I know you don't see it, you don't see it. it doesn't stop you. You are surfing, for goodness sakes. I've tried to surf. I'm hopeless. And you're
I used to try and ride. I used to ride bicycles when I was younger, and then I started hitting parked cars, and my mom was like, "Anthony, you gotta stop riding bikes."
But I mean, I love it too, because you see the humor in things as well, and you're like, but you're going for it. You don't let it stop you. I mean, that's the main thing. You've got to live your life, right? This
exactly.
is
and if you can't have fun along the way, then you've got to change something.
I posted a picture of you today on our social, and you're skateboarding. All right. Now, talk us through this. You go in with the white cane, and you feel your way around. You're building a map, right? And you're like, talk to us about what you do.
Yeah. So first of all, I like to go there, especially, and kind of flash the white cane as much as possible, so people know, like, look, I'm blind, I promise. And I go in. I like to skate on a half pipe because it's a set thing, right? It's not like a street, like there's not obstacles and stuff. You know what you're working with. So I feel out the ramp with my cane. I get the whole layout, you know, how far apart everything is. And I make this map in my head where, because I'm blind, you know, my whole life, people think I'm not blind because of how I navigate so confidently, but it's really because I go through a place, and I've been trained on this. Like, you know, I've gotten the tools and stuff through mobility, but I go through a place, and once I go through it once or twice, I have that map down in my head. So if nothing changes, like if you don't put a chair in the middle of the floor or something, like I know exactly where everything is. And that kind of, you know, it just happens with skateboarding too. And sometimes you fall off your map, but you just got to get back up and try it again, you know?
Absolutely. Look, we're all going to fall. That's one of the few things that's guaranteed in life, right? But the question is how you pick yourself up, and how you dust yourself off, and how you get on with it. And I think over and over again, you're showing just exactly how to do that, and do it with grace, and do it with dignity, and do it with purpose, mate. So, okay, so you're skateboarding, you're surfing. Is there anything that you haven't done that you want to do?
I want to go skydiving.
I'm terrified. See, yeah,
I don't know.
A fear into something like that. What's stopping you in a way? That's something that surely you could go out and try and have a go at. I can imagine that would be amazing.
Yeah, honestly, it's more of a sentimental thing. It's like my brother Oliver, who actually filmed the Shot in the Dark documentary. He's my big brother, my hero, and we were supposed to like go. You know, at some point he really wanted to go. And then he ended up passing away before he even got to see his film. So it's like still trying to find the right time and the right person to do that with, sort of thing.
Well, my goodness me. Who knows? You may have to hold my hand and take me up there.
Oh, let's do it, Nigel.
My wife went this summer, and she loves that kind of thing. And,
you didn't go with her?
I'm a big guy, but I'm a big scaredy cat when it comes to things like heights.
You just got to close your eyes.
Clearly, that might be the answer to a lot of things in life. But Anthony, you know, talk about a shot in the dark. Your brother, he shot all this extraordinary, very intimate footage of you, you know, training as a kid, and your coach is in there, and it's in a way almost no one else could have done what he did because of the intimacy of it, right? Because it isn't like it's not a drama. It's your life, right? So
I'm like very touched that you're able to see that, actually, because that's exactly what I say. It's really a love story that's told by my brother, like through his eyes, right? So like he saw me working so hard as like this wrestler, and just like, you know, dealing with life and not like letting it stop me. And, you know, at the time I'm a kid, I'm just like, whatever, I'm just trying to keep up with everyone. So I don't see it as anything. I'm like, why is everyone like, why are newspaper articles doing stuff on me? Like, get away. I'm just trying to be a normal kid. Like, and then I started realizing like this was helping some people, like seeing that I was able to do certain things and not let it, you know, certain so-called disabilities hold me back. And he captured that. He took after I started dealing with a lot of adversity in high school. So like, for example, it started out, I was accepted to the high school that both my brothers went to, and they accepted me at a handwritten letter of acceptance. We're getting your books brailled, accommodations, blah, blah, blah. And then in 8th grade, that president passed away, and they sent me a letter saying, Anthony, you're no longer accepted. We don't have to provide for your accommodations. You won't fit into the environment, the culture. And this was like a huge blow. And like, I was so shocked, like just, you know, devastated at that point. Like I was, once again, 13, 14 years old. And it's just like, life just keeps hitting me. I'm like, wow, life's really not fair. I can't go somewhere because it's something I can't change. And I just kept going and kept wrestling and just kept my head down, you know, and just really put it all into wrestling. And he saw that I was doing well and winning a lot of matches. And, you know, I'm the only blind person doing this at the time, in New Jersey at least. And he captured a 2-minute like sizzle reel of me talking about what it was like to be a blind wrestler and, you know, some of the adversity and things I dealt with in life. And he said, you know, he posted it saying, "This is my little brother. I want to make a film about him. If you're a camera operator, blah, 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 I don't have all the resources, please reach out." And then he ended up connecting with my wrestling coach's teammate from college, who's an independent film producer, Chris Sikorsky. And they teamed up and decided to do a full featured-length documentary my senior year, capturing it all of me trying to become the first blind state champion and just dealing with life, like life challenges and overcoming these things. And 2 years, you know, my senior year ends. It gets put on the shelf for a minute. Ollie, my brother, he goes to, he buys a house, and Chris has a kid. So life kind of happens for everyone. I go off to school. And then 2 years later in 2015, Chris takes it off the shelf saying, "There's an amazing story here. You know, we captured so much film. We have to tell this story." And he puts together the first like 15 minutes. And right before they were supposed to meet, right before my brother was supposed to see the first 15 minutes of his film, he ends up passing away like the day or two before. And it was just like unbelievable shock to everybody. Like my brother was larger than life. Like the way he affected people was so positive, and he picked everyone up and he saw visions and created them into reality. And like, that's exactly what he did with this film. He you know, he believed in it so much that he just, both of them, Chris and Ollie, just hustled together, doing all this out of pocket, independent. And then after Ollie passed away, Chris came to his funeral and vowed to me, you know, saying, "I'm going to do whatever it takes to finish this film." And he did. The next, you know, 12 to 15 months, he did that. And he needs to raise some money for the film, so we posted the trailer on Kickstarter, and we end up raising $87,000 at the end of the month, and going around the country, taking the film and it winning, like, you know, I think about 8 or somewhere between 8 and 10 awards, or maybe even a couple more. And it just like, while that was happening, it was circulating, and the trailer got over 1.5 million views. And one of those views, I'm sitting at home kind of feeling sorry for myself. My brother passed away. You know, things are happening in life. And I'm seeing all this stuff with the movie, and I'm like, oh man, like I want to get back after it. I want to train. Like I need more goals in my life. I need like stop feeling sorry for myself and like take control of my life in the ways that I can. And I'm sitting at home and I get a phone call and they're like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Is this Anthony Ferraro?" I'm like, "Yeah, who's this?" And they're like, "It's the United States Olympic Committee." I'm like, "Sorry, you have the wrong number," you know? And they're like, "No, we saw your trailer and your film, and we were wondering if you would consider," this was in 2016, and they were like, "wondering if you would consider training judo for the Paralympics to compete in Tokyo." And the only disability in the Paralympics for judo is visual impairment. It's just like wrestling, but, you know, you add some things like there's chokes and arm bars and then different throws and stuff. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, this is an opportunity. Like when opportunities present themselves, you have to take them. If you know, you don't know if that's going to come back around. So I jump on it and start training, raising all this money, you know, by playing music and motivational speaking, just doing all this stuff on the side as much as possible, traveling around the world, competing in all these tournaments. And then ended up like in 2 years later becoming first in the country and then top 20 in the world like a couple months ago before COVID. And then COVID hit, so everything got paused, but, you know, switched focus to music for a minute. And then now I'm, you know, back to training, but a little differently, but still training very hard and, you know, just working as much as possible and playing music as well. And just completed like a 10,000-mile cross-country music tour with my fiance, where we did 7 weeks across the country, setting up in beautiful places and trying to live stream music, me playing guitar and, you know, singing the blues and different things to people to try and, like, you know, spread positivity and just get people out of their little ruts during COVID. And with all the negativity during the election, just trying to flood feeds with positivity. So it's been a great journey so far. I'm still,
I tell you what,
going.
You keep going, and just then you just listed so many extraordinary things, FYI, that you're doing that it's like, okay, wait a second, where do I ask my next question? Because it was like so much great stuff. But one of the things you said right at the beginning was you mentioned, there's some so-called disability, this so-called disability, right? In other words, not a disability, it's what somebody else calls a disability, right? So you are known, you have an expression, a mantra even, where the only disability is a bad attitude. And that is something which I think so many of us can go by, can live by. And you talk to us about that particular statement.
Well, it really stems back to, people are always asking me, like, Anthony, how do you do these things with a disability? Like, this kid's disabled. How does he do this? This kid's disabled, blah, blah, blah. And that term just I'm never going to, like, get mad at someone, but that term just, like, kind of, it gets you the wrong way. And it's like, I know people that sit at home, they have nothing wrong with themselves, and they just feel sorry for themselves. I need to get a job. I need to do this. I need, but don't take action. And I know people in wheelchairs. I know people without limbs. I know people that can't see, that can't hear, whatever it may be, going out in the world and just taking, like, control of their life and making these goals and just doing whatever it takes, coming up with these ways around obstacles, pushing through different things. There's this organization I love called No Barriers, and it's Eric Weinmayer, the first blind man to ever climb Mount Everest, and his saying is, what's within you is stronger than what's in front of you. And it's so true, because I know these people climbing mountains in wheelchairs, like they're rock climbing, doing all these things, and it's like, who has the disability at the end of the day? The person sitting at home crying about blah, 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 or the person, so-called disabled going and doing what you, like, could only dream about doing. And I'm not saying that in order to be, successful or to be, like, whatever, you don't have to go out and do these crazy things, but get up in the morning, make your bed, like, clean your house, take a step outside. And that's where it all starts, is just taking the first step. You don't have to do, if your passion is sewing, like, put those hours in, because you're not going to become so good at something if you don't put your hours in. It doesn't just happen overnight. And that's what people forget about, because you see these people, doing these things, and you don't see the hours that go into them getting to that point.
I 100% agree with you. We've had so many extraordinary people on. We had Chris Nikic on, who has Down syndrome, and he said to me that, before he actually did the Ironman, which he was the first person with Down syndrome to ever compete, he said, I couldn't even do one push-up. But I realized that my motto, this is his motto, was that I will get 1% better every day. That's all I'm after. I don't need huge improvements. And one by one, slowly but surely, he pushed through. He let nothing stop him. And he got 1% better, 1% better, 1% better, composite, until he becomes the very first person with Down syndrome to do an Ironman, right? Garrison Red, he's in a wheelchair and he's a Paralympian. You may already know him. But he was doing pull-ups and calisthenics.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually said to him that he was cheating, that it was not fair, because the people with legs were saying, oh, he can do more because he's lighter. He hasn't got legs. So you know what he did? He strapped his wheelchair to his body, and
I know.
And then he beat them anyway with the wheelchair strapped to him. And he gets down and goes, so now what? Is it still not fair? I hear your story, and I hear you. We all hear you, and that's why it's such an inspiration for so many of us. In fact, you're an inspiration for everybody. And the more you piss people off because they see what you're doing, the better. We all need you, mate. We love what you're about. Now, you mentioned singing. You mentioned that you're out doing a bit of a tour. I think it's, what is it called? Anthony Ferraro's Blind Busking Live Stream Tour, I believe is what you call yourself. Sounds like the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour.
Exactly.
Have you got something you can play for us? I like the hair, by the way. The whole look you've got going on. Very
cheers, Nigel. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Look at you.
So, it's funny you say about the wheelchair strapping on, because real quick, the other day I put that skate video on TikTok, and I got like hundreds of comments of people saying he's not blind, he can skateboard. So the other day I did a video, I put blindfolds on, and I was like, all right, what are you gonna say now? You know. So this is a song me and my dad kind of co-wrote together, and it's called the Born Blind Blues. Can you hear it all right?
Perfect.
All right, cool. Well, I can't see, baby. I don't even know what that means. Oh, I can't see, baby. I don't even know what this means. Oh, but I can smell you, girl. Smell like some butter and beans. You know my mama's cooking. It's got the ways and the means. Hey, my mama's cooking. Got the ways and the means. Oh, but when she ain't in the kitchen, baby, you know I'll take your butter and beans. Why don't you move me to the left, baby? Move me once to the right. Oh, move me to the left, girl, and move me once to the right. Because you gotta know, baby, your body's out of sight. Oh, I was born blind, baby, and that don't bother me none. Oh, I was born blind, baby, and this don't bother me none. Oh, come close your eyes, baby, and have yourself some fun. Because when I woke up this morning, I felt around for my shoes. You know, I really did. I had to feel around for my shoes. Because when I woke up this morning, Lord, I felt around for my shoes. I was laying all over the ground, my arms spread out looking for them. That's when I knew I had these blind man blues.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So good. So, you know what? You got a great voice too, buddy. You got
Thank you so much.
Voice, you got the moves, and I know you've got the girl. So, you know, you're a lucky guy is what you are. Actually,
I really am.
Listen,
I'm very blessed.
For blowing it up. This is just the beginning. You're exactly what we're all about. Vive means life. We're about experiencing life to the fullest and living life to the fullest and understanding that there's nothing more important. And you clearly live it and are an absolute expression of how we should all be. So, mate, thank you for everything. You've set me up. You've made me smile from ear to ear. I feel like I'm glowing for you. So thank you.
Nigel, thank you so much.
A pleasure. And everybody, A Shot in the Dark, his movie, you can get it on Amazon. If you go to our stories, you can swipe up. You can also go to his website, which is www.asfvision.com and check out all the sorts of things out that Anthony's up to. Mate, this is the beginning. We'll see you really soon. Good luck. Have a great weekend.
Love you guys, Nigel. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you.
One love.